What's happening, YouTube? Happy spring. Welcome back. Update number 2 on Rumination. This is like take number 3 for me. And I don't mean like take number 3 today. I mean like this is the third day I've sat down to make this video for you. And I kind of put myself in a little bit of a bind by getting too much done. And it just made me kind of have trouble making my way through the video to describe all the changes to you and remember them all. And so, yeah. It's been a heck of a week. I saw Corey Wong last Saturday. Epic show. My gosh, man. It was so cool. At one point, I literally just started shedding tears at how pretty one of his new tracks was. And so that was awesome. I had a good work session in the middle of last week where I got the majority of what you're going to hear today done. I figured out the chorus on the song, which is super killer. And I'll kind of go through what made it finally work, or at least what I believe made it finally work. And then Thursday, we're going to talk about Dune 2 later in this video. This is a music channel, but this is also kind of a passion pursuit channel. So Dune has been my absolute favorite movie since it came out. I've watched it an absurd amount of times. So stay tuned for the end. We're going to talk about Dune. For now, though, let's check out this song, and then we'll go through the changes, and then we'll talk some Arrakis and sandworm stuff. So let me put on some headphones here so I'm hearing it with you. I may do some on-the-fly mixing here based on what I heard in my car last night, but I won't say anything else. Just boosted the keys a little bit there. I want to boost these horns just a tad. I think we'll stop it there because there's a lot to digest there. Let's talk about the chorus real quick. Like I said, this chorus I've kind of had this version of the chorus in my head for many moons now. What I found out it was needing the whole time was a driving kick drum staying in the 4/4 pattern from kind of the buildup, part 2 of the verse, and having the tom work be the accents for that more syncopated bum, bum, bum. Sitting in my living room kind of thinking about the song and started to think about what if the kick drum kept doing that, but how would I still accent it? And so what it ended up being is I started air drumming a little bit, and what I came up with is like if you could see my hands, like a 4/4 on the kick, and then the tom and the snare bump, bump, bum, bump, 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 bum, something like that, you know? So the toms are what's matching the bass line and the instruments. The kick drum is keeping the upbeat vibe going. And that seemed to really work. So the other thing that helped out a lot was just a better choice of chords on the keys, and a more simplified but expressive trumpet part. And instead of having a full pop horn section, we're back to just 2 trumpets. I've thought about maybe making one of them a sax, just for a little bit of a change in dynamics from your left ear to your right, because I usually pan things like a little bit like this with the instruments that I have in the center. I want to leave room for the kick and the bass and the snare. And so I pan my stereo instruments a little bit, but I don't pan them too far because I have guitars, lots of guitars way out here on hard left and hard right. So that's what I did with kind of the piano and the horns. And then sometimes if I get too many things kind of right here in the center, what I'll do is I'll take one and shift it like more like this. And then the other instrument that's stereo, like the keys, would be shifted like this, just a tad. And that's how I personally have been filling out the stereo field. I'm not sure that's the best way. I'm not sure that I should even speak in terms of right or wrong, because as I'm starting to learn, and less about learning and more about finally accepting and adopting the fact that it's okay to just do things your way from time to time, you know? So yeah, so let's check out the chorus one more time and we'll go through kind of what you're hearing. So listen for that kick. And then the kick kind of comes back a little more syncopated, and now it's going to go back to 4/4. So let me hear. That's how it's supposed to really sound. So it's too much reverb though right there. Ah, that's why it was hitting a bus. That's why I was not doing what I wanted. Here's the keys. So yeah. Other than that, we're back to live instruments now. There's no, I've taken out the MIDI. I bounced the snare drum from the LPK sampling series that we were using to trigger the MIDI. I bounced that to audio. So it's a stereo snare drum right now, and that's going to get changed probably to more mono, because that's just how I like to work. And there's only one snare, so you only need to hear it in one place. And if I want to make it wider, I'll just add a little reverb. What I did for the toms this time around, since I've prioritized cymbals over microphones for the immediate future, so I actually have a new hi-hat on the way as well. A weird story that I'll share next time I get it. I don't know what it's going to be. It's either going to be a Stag DH, which is the double hammered 14-inch brand new B20 alloy hi-hat, or it's going to be a used Sabian AAX Fusion hi-hat, which has a hammered bottom piece. I'll tell you about what happened next time. I'm not even going to go into that. But one of those two things will be here in the next either 4 days or 4 weeks. I don't know when. And we'll work with that then. But so I still don't have the microphones that I need to be playing fills live. So I have to kind of punch them in. I have to kind of come up with them in my head. And then I kind of play them slow on the drums as I'm seeing if they're going to work, and imagine what hands would be hitting what places. And then I just drop in tom samples. Now, the workflow that I started to come up with this workflow on Mr. Perfect and wanted to describe it in the last video, and I ended up cutting it out because I kind of got tangented away from it. What I did is I sat down at the kit and I played 16 bars of quarter notes on each tom, mic'd it up, doom, 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 just played it. So I have a ton of samples there. How many? 16 times 4. It's a lot. I spread those throughout the song. I just double those. And then when I need to activate a tom, I had it's not there now, but I had the MIDI track, which showed me the data points. And I just matched up where I knew the toms to be. And then unmute one of those things. And now I know I have a left and right hand. It's always left, right, left, right, left, right. And when I need more toms, if it's eighth notes, I just grab toms from around and pull them back. And then it lets me know that I'm always triggering a different stick hit, which for me just is a lot. It's safer to me in knowing that the performance is going to sound more real than having one tom play, so that's what I did with the toms. It's what I did with the kick on this song, and it's what I'm going to do with the snare next until I'm a good enough drummer to play all this and wealthy enough producer to have the microphones to capture such a performance. So the toms are new, kick is new, the hi-hat is old. It's still the stainless steel Amazon hi-hat. And I have this gritty, I'm just embracing the grit with the clang helm here. I think I have it on like a lo-fi hi-hat setting just to embrace it, It's an ugly sounding thing, but it kind of fits with the darkness of the song. If a new cymbal gets here in time and I'm feeling up to it, I may put it in, but that's about it new changes wise. So that leaves us to talk about one other thing. Dune 2. Holy crap. Let me tell you about my history with Dune. I was reading a Kurt Vonnegut book in 2019. I can't remember which one because I was on a kick. I read several of them. But I had also been reading Command and Control, which is like a nuclear war book, and I was kind of in a nuclear war thing. And so Dune came up because there are atomic weapons in the universe of Dune. It made it onto my reading list, and then I saw there was going to be a movie, so then it made it higher up my reading list. Anyways, randomly, we were in New York. We had just had our first daughter. The first Dune came out. I watched it by myself one night. I was working at FedEx at the time. I watched it after work one night till like 2 a.m, and it just blew my mind. I may or may not have consumed a small amount of a certain fungi when I watched it, which made it extra spectacular. So then I told my wife the next day, I said, man, I watched this movie Dune last night. It is so cool. I was like, it is like, spacey, but it's also got this religion and this politics, and it was really deep, So it went on to become my favorite movie. I kid you not, I've watched Dune 1 20 times, at least in the last 3 years, at least 20 full watches. When my second daughter, Evie, was born, I held her the night, her first night in the hospital with us on Earth. I held her and I watched Dune. I've showed every friend that would sit down, every family member that visited us in New York that would sit down and watch it with me. We watched it. So I've been raving about it. And somehow like my mortality and just a lot of things, because Dune 2 was going to be so far away. I knew it was years away, especially with the pandemic and the writing strikes and all that. So I'm not sure that necessarily affected it, but I was just looking at all these things in the way going, wow, it could be 4 years before I see the second movie. I hope I live that long. Like literally kept saying that to people. I was like, because you never know, and it became this future point for me where I was like a car accident, a drunk driver could make it so I never get to see this movie, and I don't mean to make it say like this movie was more important than seeing 4 years of my kids grow up. It's not like that at all. It was just a weird attachment. It's like the perfect movie for me. It's got monsters. I love monster movies. I kind of like Star Wars and stuff, but I don't love it enough to be crazy about it. But Dune has just enough Star Wars, just enough monster movie. And then it has like this psychedelic element with the spice and stuff. I just love it. I love it. So I've been waiting for this movie to come out. And then it got delayed last fall. Brutal. I was furious. It's like, man, now what's going to happen to me in the next 6 months while I wait? Anyways, we saw it in IMAX on opening day, actually the 29th on leap year. my wife and I, from the first sound of that movie, the first throat singing sound from the starter car, I started crying in the theater. My wife's like, she's like, seriously, babe, already? I'm like, it's gonna be like this the whole movie. So God, I'm sweating right now. I don't want to take off my shirt though, because I'm probably really sweaty under it. So, you know, I watched the movie and just was blown away by how much better it is than the first one. I mean, if you didn't see the first one, you missed out. If you don't see this movie in theater, you're blowing it, dude. And I'm not like a big theater guy. I usually see 3 or 4 movies a year in the movie theater. They're always the big blockbusters, the Jurassic Parks, the Avengers, you know, the Star Wars. This movie, I've seen all the Avatars. Also with some enhanced viewing, thought those were spectacular. Not the writing or anything. I don't care about that. When I go to the movies for that type of a movie, I'm in it for just escaping our planet and going somewhere else. Dune blew it all out of the water. So go see Dune 2, man. It is so awesome. It is absolutely phenomenal. And I don't care about the loyalty to I've read the books. I've read the first 2 or 3 times. I'm reading God Emperor now. So I'm not even just like the movie guy. I love the books, but I'm not like a loyalist to the books. What the director did, Denis, I don't know if it's Denis or Dennis, but it's probably Denis if you go with like the Villeneuve. He did an excellent job, man. It is such a powerful film. The scene where they're dancing in the, like not dancing, they're doing the sand walk in the sand, but it looks like a dance because Chani is so graceful at it. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. Go see Dune. Spectacular movie. Unbelievable sound. Unbelievable imagery. Man, if Arrakis wasn't so dangerous, I'd want to live there myself. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Like I said, this is a channel about passion pursuits. It won't surprise me if one day you hear about a deer that I get or an incredible wave that I catch somewhere in the world, because these are the things that music and surfing and, you know, these things that you'll hear about in my life are the things that keep me going day to day in my own personal world, aside from my wife and my kids. So I get stoked about it, man. And you can probably hear it in my voice and see it on my face when I talk about such things. So anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for following along. And we'll have another update for you on Rumination pretty quick here, but I would expect only one more before this song is done, because I played it in my car last night and did kind of like a rough bounce just to see where we were at. Pretty close. And I'm pretty stoked with how it's turning out. So I'll probably get into that same position where I don't want to give too much of the full finished track away prior to the release. Just bear with me, and we'll do one more update, and then we'll probably get this bad boy released. I have kind of a firm deadline set for myself for the end of the month. So I'm sticking to that. I'm going to make it happen. Hopefully a week early would be awesome, and then we'll move on. I've got I think I've decided on the next song I'm going to work on. It's going to be called Stone Burner, Dune reference. And it's a pretty cool track that I started developing a few years ago. I think I finally have kind of the inspiration, the know-how, and the equipment to bring it to life. And that's what this channel is all about. So thanks again, guys, for hanging out. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you back here on YouTube soon. Peace out.